Grade 12 learners, and welcome to today's accounting lesson. My name is Mr. Simbi, and this lesson is brought to you by the Gauteng Department of Education in collaboration with Cybono Discovery Center. It is a lovely thing that I get to see you again in my class after the holidays. We are now in the third term and we are ready for the prelims. So we're going to be continuing with term 3 work. But before I go to and do that, today I'm just going to be doing bank reconciliation. Bank reconciliation. So by now you should be having the worksheet of the questions that we're going to be working on today. So if you don't have the worksheet, please talk to your educator. They should have the worksheet so that they can give it to you. If it's printed, then it makes it easy for you to work with me today. Here are my objectives for today's lesson. We're going to update the journals, prepare the bank account, we'll prepare the bank reconciliation statement, we'll also address internal control processes that relate to the BRS. When we talk about reconciliations, there are three different types of reconciliations. Three. The first one is your bank reconciliation. The second one is your creditors reconciliation. And lastly, we're going to do the debtors recon. So in these classes, I'm going to touch all these three recons. So as I said earlier on, today I'm going to start with the bank reconciliation. So if you have a problem with creditors reconciliation, debtors reconciliation, you should make sure that you don't miss next week's class. By the way, if you know someone in your class, it could be a friend, a classmate, that you know struggles very much with the bank reconciliation, please tell them that the class is on. And remember, you need a pen, pencil, you need a paper. Very importantly, you need a calculator in today's class. What is the bank reconciliation? What are we talking about when you talk about the bank reconciliation? It is a process of comparing the financial records of the business, that is, us as the business, when we prepare our CRJ and the CPJ against the statement that is received from the bank. So we get to compare the CRJ and the CPJ against the statement that would have been received from the bank. The purpose of reconciling is to identify errors, omissions, and fraud. So once we reconcile, we're able to identify these things, that is your errors, omissions, as well as fraud that could be happening, so that we can be able now to detect and also deter them. Once we know that there is fraud that is taking place, we can now put measures in place to stop it from continuing. And once we pick errors, then we can correct them. And we put measures as well so that that does not happen again in the future. It also verifies the accuracy of all transactions that would have been recorded. Here are some of the concepts that you have to know that relate to your bank reconciliation. So I'm not going to touch all of these ones. I'll explain them as I do my question today. I'm going to explain all these concepts when I do the activities that I have here with me. All right. Very important that you get to understand the relationship between the records of the business and the records of the bank. In the records of the business, cash transactions are recorded in the CRJ and in the CPJ, and the totals are posted to the bank account. And then the cash received and deposited is reflected on the debit side of the bank account. Payments are made by the business are reflected on the credit side of the bank account. Okay, I'm going to show you even when we prepare the bank account. So in simple words, what this means is when we have a bank account that has been prepared by the business, on the debit side, you're going to have your receipts. All right, on the debit side, you're going to record all the cash that is received. So you're going to have your CRJ here. And then on the credit side, you're going to have now your CPJ. This, in summary, is what we're talking about here. And then, according to the records of the bank will send us a statement of account to the business, that is us in this case. And this statement is a record that shows all transactions, that is the debits and the credits. Now, you see that on the bank statement now, credits are deposits. In other words, when we come here and now we have the bank statement, you will now have on the credit side, that is where you have transactions that relate to the CRJ, that is your deposits. So in other words, transactions of the CRJ, you find them on the credit side because that is where it will increase. And then the payments will now be on the debit side. That is where you find your CPJ. So you end up now with what some may call the Caesar approach. The Caesar approach, whereby it is the opposite of the other account. What is on the debit of the bank account becomes on the credit of the bank statement. And the credit of the bank account becomes the debit on the bank statement. But I'm going to show you as we go as well. Now, we will have a favorable and an unfavorable balance. But to understand this, I'm going to explain it as well when I do the first activity. And without further ado, let's start with activity number 1. Activity number 1. Activity number 1 reads, the following information relates to Dowie traders for March 2021. Then required, this is what we must do. So we have 3 things that we must do. Firstly, we are to complete the CRJ. One of the most important things is to understand what the examiner wants you to do. In this case, they want us to do the cash receipts journal as well as the cash payments journal. So you must not jump to answer the question before you really understand. Remember, the 10 minutes reading time that you're going to get in the prelim, you use those minutes to understand what exactly does the examiner want me to do. And then after that, we prepare the bank account. This is now in the general ledger. Then lastly, we prepare the bank reconciliation statement. Let's see, are we given any information? Here's the information that we're given. All right. And then we have more information here. There it is. All right, more information, and this is where the information ends. So we're going to use this information and we're going to record it in the journals, bank account, and in the bank reconciliation statement. And to do that, I'm going to do it slowly with you so that you get to understand exactly what it is that I am doing. But to begin with, I'm going to give you a few keys. I call them keys to the bank reconciliation statement. Okay, so I'm going to give you key number 1. So these are keys to the BRS. Keys to the BRS. Number 1, if an item is in the journals, who prepares the journals? Us. So if an item is in the journals, but that particular item is not on the bank statement, who does the bank statement? The bank. So if an item is on the journals, done by us, but not on the bank statement, that is done by them. What do? I put it in the BRS. Key number 1. Key number 1. Can I give you key number 2? You ready? Here's key number 2. Key number 2 now says, if an item is on the bank statement, that is by them, they have recorded, but that item is not on the journals, we have not yet recorded. What does that mean? It means we must record. So where do we take it? To the journals. You're following? Let's go to key number 3 now. Key number 3 is very interesting because with key number 3, you need the previous month's bank reconciliation statement. You're following? So it means with key number 3, you have to relate it to the previous month's bank reconciliation statement. Here's key number 3. If an item is on the BRS, now listen to this one. Why would an item be in the bank reconciliation statement? It would be there because it was in the journals, but not on the bank statement. It has a relationship with key number 1. So if an item is on the BRS, now that item appears on the bank statement. Okay? They will tell you that that item does not appear in the journals. With this key, the answer is you do not a thing. You do nothing. Okay? Key number 3, very, very important. I'll show you, especially with activity number 2. Okay, now let's go and do this activity now. The first part, we're going to record our information as it was presented. That's another trick that I want to give you. When you do your bank reconciliation statement, you have to read the information from A, B, C, understand it, and then you record it as you go. Now, the other aspect is there are different methods to do the bank reconciliation. There is the 2 column and then there's the 1 column. In this case, in today's class, I'm going to emphasize on the 2 column method. All right. We are given information A and information B. Now we need to record this. It says on 1 March, the bank account in the general ledger reflected an unfavorable. This is in the bank account by us. So if it's unfavorable, that means that balance is what? Credit. All right. So let me go and record it. Here's my bank account. Here is my debit and here is my credit. The balance is unfavorable. That means I bring it here. Balance brought down 15,200. Unfavorable balance. It's a credit balance. Provisional totals. So we're given these totals, CIJ and CPJ. For our provisional totals, we'll come here now. And then we'll now say total. So it is on the 31st. Then I'll say the total. How much is the total? For the cash receipts journal, the total is 46,200. And I need to record the total for the CPJ. I'll come here, then it's day 31. Then I say total. The amount is 74,300. So I have recorded information A and information B. Are you following? Okay, that means we need to go to the next information. Let's go to the next information. Our next information is information C. All right, so you can look at the screen and you also compare with the worksheet that you have in front of you. It reads, the following information on the March bank statement received from BR Bank did not appear in the March cash journals. Okay, so you remember the keys. Here we have an item that is on the March cash journals. So this information, it is on the March bank statement. Actually, it is on the bank statement, but not in the March journals. You remember that is key number 2. What do we do now with this one? We put it in the journals. Let's read. The first one reads, Nala Municipality 1,500 for water and electricity. So we know that these are debit orders. So we're dealing with payments here. That means we're going to record that. Is that in the CRJ? Do we record in the CPJ? Yes. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to say, this is a payment. I'm going to bring it here. The document is my bank statement. The date, remember, we're on the last day. And then the details, I'm going to say Nala Municipality. Here is the municipality. And the amount is 1,500. Here's my 1.5. I come to the amount again. I say 1.5. In details, then I say water and electricity. Water and electricity. I have recorded this one. Another hint. When you do the bank reconciliation, make sure you have your pencil close to you. Whatever you have dealt with, tick it or cross it out to show that I've dealt with this transaction. Let's go to the next one. Here we have Visica and it's 6,000. We're told it is for insurance premium. 1.5 is for the private residence of the owner. Okay, so here we're dealing with what? Here we're dealing with drawings. So I'm going to come here again. It's the bank statement. The date is the 31st. And then what do I now say? We have paid Visica. And then how much is that amount? 6,000. And then I come here now. I know that that 6,000 was not entirely for our business, because we're told 1.5 is for the owner's private residence. In other words, the 1.5 is drawings. The 1.5 is drawings. How much is left now? So you say 6,000 minus the 1.5. That gives you 4,500. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to say the 4.5. The 4.5 is for insurance. The 4.5 is for insurance. Dear learners, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to take a 2-minute break, and I'm going to see you shortly after 2 minutes. Make sure you stay close, because I'm going to see you exactly after 2 minutes.
I want you to ask yourself these 3 questions. Number 1, what do I want? Do I want to become an A student, or do I want to become an average student? Number 2, I want you to ask yourself, how do you plan on getting there? Are you going to put more extra hours, or are you going to just sleep? Number 3, who will be with you in this journey? Because it is important that we associate ourselves with students who have the same vision as us, who want to become a student, who want to put in the extra work, who want to become better at what they do. Unsuccessful people do not plan. They just let life happen to them. But successful people are planning on how they want their lives to be. And right now, you plan on how you want your results at the end of the year to be like.
Welcome back, dear learners. Now we have done this one and we've done that one. So we go now to the third one, which is what we have over here. And it reads, a direct deposit from AG Investments. So this is a direct deposit. This is money that we are receiving. It's a direct deposit. Money that was deposited directly into the business bank account. Direct deposit. And the amount is 10,200. So we received in total 10,200. We're told this is for an investment that matured, including, so it's 2 things here. There's an investment that is matured, but it also includes interest for the year. And the interest is at 13.33%. So it means when I have the 10.2, what percentage is this? Because I know this is the full amount that I've received. But I have interest. Interest is 13.33. This is interest. And this is what we have received. And I know that what we have received is interest, including the investment. So I also have the investment. And that investment on its own, it's a full investment. That means it's 100%. Okay. So that means the 10,200 that we've received, it's not 100% alone. No. It's 100% of the investment plus the 13.33% per annum of the interest. That means what we've received is 113.33. So the 10.2 is 113.33. Now what we want is to be able to come here and record. I will now say the document, remember, is the bank statement. The date is the 31st. I'll now come and I'll say the name, it's AG Investments. AG Investments. AG Investments. How much in total did we receive? 10,200. But the entire amount is not for the investment. Neither is it for the interest. So I must be able to separate it now. If I can calculate 1, then I can get the remainder. Okay? So let's calculate the interest then. Let's calculate the interest. If I am to get the interest, I know the interest is 13.33%. So I'll come and I'll say, what I want is 13 and a third percent. But what I have is the entire amount here, which is 113 and a third. Okay, so it's what I want over what I have times, then I multiply that by the 10,200. That should give me the interest in rands. So I want the 13 and a third, but what I have is 113 and a third. Multiply that by 10,200. So make sure you have a calculator close. Let's see if we can punch that in together and see how we can get the figure. All right. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to punch on our calculator, and we're now going to say what we want. This is what we want. We want 13 and a third. 13 and a third. 13 and a third. That is what we want. 13 and a third. And then we're saying we're dividing that. We're dividing that by, and then we're dividing that by 113. 113 and a third. And a third. And then we're multiplying all of this by your 10,200. We're multiplying all of this by 10,200. And then that will give you your 1,200. That is your interest. So we have our interest, which is 1,200. So 1,200 becomes interest over here. 1,200 becomes your interest. And then you can now say 10,200 minus 1.2. Then that gives you 9,000. That becomes your investment. That therefore becomes your investment. All right. Are we together? All right. Well, someone is saying, Mr. Simbi, please show us again that calculation. Okay, I'm going to do it again. I'm going to do it again. Here's the other simplest way that you could have done it. You could have simply said, what you want is 33. Remember, you want 33 and a third. That is what you want. You want 13 and a third, actually. You want 13 and a third. You want 13 and a third. So it's going to be 13 and a third. All right, 13 and a third. So there is your third. Then you come down, and then now you come down. All right, you come down. Once you come down, it's shift again, and then you get your boxes again, and then you now punch your 113 and a third again, and a third again, and then you simply say multiply that now by your 10,200, by 10,200, and it will give you your interest. So you could have said what you want is 100. You could still have got the 9,000. Now let's continue. We're going to continue to the next one. The next one is information C. Information C. And information C reads as follows. EFT fees 160. All right. So I know if I have EFT fees 160, these are what we call bank charges. These are bank charges. And I have cash handling fees and I have service fees. These are all bank charges. Okay. So these three. But I also have interest on unfavorable, interest on overdraft. So that means these four will now go to my CPJ. Okay, so I'm going to add this four. I'm going to add the 160, the 180, the 250, and the 120. Okay, I'm going to add those up, and then we record them in the CPJ. Let's go. So I'm going to come to my CPJ, and then I'm going to say on the bank statement, the date, remember, is the 31st. Details, what is the name of the bank? BR Bank. So the name of the bank is BR Bank. And then I add 160 plus 80 plus 250 plus 120. And then that is going to give you 610. Thank you. 610. Of that 610, I know that not all of it is bank charges because the 120 is interest on unfavorable balance. So I'm going to come here now, say 120 is interest on overdraft. The 120 is interest on overdraft. The difference between 610 and 120, how much is that on your calculator? Please say 610 minus 120. How much do you get? You get 490. So I'll come here, then I'll say the 490 therefore becomes my bank charges. The 490 becomes my bank charges. Okay. Can I come to this one now? Are we good? Okay, thank you. Let's go to this one. It says, a deposit from debtor P. Jacobs for 4,500 in settlement of his account. So we have a debtor who has paid us. Where does that go? CRJ or CPJ? CRJ. So we're going to come here and then we're going to say, what is the name? Okay, let's start with the document. Remember, this is all on the bank statement. And then the date, all right? And then the details. What do we say? What is the name of the person? P. Jacobs. You see that one there? So we come here, it's P. Jacobs. How much did we get from P. Jacobs? 4,500. Can I go? Okay. And then we come here. What was this for? In settlement of his account. That means P. Jacobs was a debtor. So here we're going to have our debtors control. And I'll come and say debtors control. Are we still following? Okay, thank you. Now let's read the next one. It says, the bookkeeper forgot to enter. Okay, it's this one now. The bookkeeper forgot to enter the EFT to know the enterprise, 9.6 for the monthly rent. So I'm going to come here now and I'm going to say, because the bookkeeper forgot to enter this amount, it's going to come to the CPJ. All right. Remember, it's on the 31st. And then I'm going to say, this is going to know the enterprise. Okay. Know the enterprise. How much are we talking about? 9,600. And then I'm going to come here. It's going to be 9,600. And this is rent. So this is our rent expense. That is our rent expense. The last one then reads, a deposit of 8,000 was reflected on the business bank statement. A deposit was on the business bank statement. This deposit does not relate to the business. That is us. That is us. And must be corrected by the bank. So when we received our bank statement, we realized that there was a deposit. In other words, there was a credit entry on the bank statement. But that did not relate to us. So is it us who made the error? Certainly not. So if we did not make the error, we are not going to correct it in the journals. Who made the error? That is the bank. And they've indicated that they will correct it. But remember, we have to record it now. What then do we do? Here is that transaction now. What do we do? Such an entry will be corrected now on the bank reconciliation statement because it is an error that was made by the bank, not by us, by the bank. So we correct it on the bank reconciliation statement. Before I even record this and correct this entry, you have to know your format. You have to know your format. Okay, I know there's different ways in which you could have done this. But as I said at the beginning of today's class, I'm going to use the double column method. I'm going to use the double column method. And on the double column method, I'm going to start off with balance as per bank statement. All right. I know some of you will start it with balance as per bank account. It's still okay. And then I'm going to end it off with my balance as per bank account. Now, I want to correct this error. It's a deposit. In other words, on the bank statement, there was a credit entry. You remember what I said? there was a credit entry on the bank statement, but that was incorrect. So we need to correct it now on the BRS. What do we now say? So we then come here and we say, all right, we're going to say a deposit of 8,000 reflected on the business bank statement. This deposit does not relate to the business and must be corrected by the bank. So we're going to come and then we're going to say correction of error. All right, so we're going to credit. We're going to, remember, they credited, so we're going to debit amount incorrectly credited. Debit amount incorrectly credited. We're going to debit an amount that was incorrectly credited. That is my 8,000 over there. We debit an amount that was incorrectly credited. We debit an amount that was incorrectly credited. Okay, can I move on to the next one then? Okay. Now, D, it reads, the following information in the March 2021 cash journals did not appear on the bank statement for March 2021. Okay, so this information is on the journals that were done by us, but it is not on the bank statement by them. All right, so where do we take this now? We take it to the BRS. Okay, so we're going to say now the first one. Remember, we already have our format now. I'm just going to say it again. Here we start with our balance as per bank statement. Okay. Now, we have an outstanding deposit. There it is. The formula then tells us that we must credit. We come and then we credit outstanding deposits. Credit outstanding deposits. And here it's only one. So it's going to be 23,400. I've seen in some questions where you can have more than one outstanding deposit. Okay. And then the next one says EFT 120 for 9,220 to GS stores for consumables purchased. That means I'm going to come here now and I'll now say debit. I debit my outstanding EFTs. Debit outstanding EFTs. And they have numbers. I have EFT number 120. And remember, I'm debiting them. How much is that? 9,220. Can I go on to the next one? So I'm done with this one. Let me record the next one. EFT 125. So I come here. It's 125. How much is that for? 4,790. And I'm debiting it. Okay. So at this moment, I have recorded my information D. Okay. You will see by now that we are only left with one piece of the information. That is information E. And information E says the balance according to the bank statement on the 31st of March is, and we must calculate that one. So that is what we want to do now, to calculate the balance according to the bank statement on the 31st of March. Okay. Now, since we have no information, we start closing up our journals now. We begin to total our journals. So here in the CRJ, remember in the CRJ, then we have our 60,900. Where do we take that one? We take it to our bank account. Again, there is several ways of doing this calculation of the bank. There's the one where you do the straight line. I thought, you know what, let me just use the ledger, the general ledger, because this is what we know from grade 10, from grade 11. So on our bank account, remember, on the debit is a plus, on the credit is a minus. And once we have cash receipts journal, it comes here. Then I'm going to say total receipts. So total receipts. And this is coming from the CRJ. So I'm coming here to say 60,900. Are we still together? Okay. Then let's go on to the next one. The next one is the cash payments journal. In the cash payments journal, our total is 92,010. So we're going to record that one. Remember already, I have my total receipts here. I have my total receipts from the CIJ. Who still remembers how much that was? 60,900. You remember? Okay. Now, I'm going to come and record my total payments. Make sure when I write, you also write. Okay? Total payments from the CPJ. How much are we bringing here? 92,010. I need those calculators closed now. I need those calculators closed. All right? I need those calculators. All right? Can we begin? So we're now going to say 15.2 plus 92,010. Let's see if we can do this together. So we're gonna say now 15,200, 15.2, and then we say plus the 92,010, plus 92,010. How much are we gonna get? We get 107,210. So I'm gonna come here, it's gonna be 107,210. Here, 107,210. And then here I'm gonna get now my balance carried down. Remember, that's how you close off the ledger account, the side with the highest amount. And then for me to get that balance carried down, I need to bring again our calculator. So I have the 107,210 already. Then I'm simply now going to say minus what? 60,900. Okay, so I'm going to take out 60.9, and then I remain now with 46,310. So I come here, it's 46,310. So it means here I now have a balance brought down, 46,310. And that balance is on the credit side. Very important. That balance is on the credit side. In other words, that balance is unfavorable. That balance is unfavorable. Okay, now let's complete our bank reconciliation statement. Okay, so here is the bank account that we have done, 46,310. And remember, it's on the credit side. That means it is unfavorable. That is a bank overdraft. Okay, now that we have that one, we can now complete our bank reconciliation statement. So remember, we have recorded this one already. We've recorded that. We now have the balance as per bank account from the general ledger. So I can then bring it. I know that my balance as per bank account, it is what here? It is credit. So my balance according to the bank account, or balance as per bank account, is a credit balance. And how much is that? It is 46,310. And already here I'd indicated that it's going to be a credit balance. Okay, so now let's get the balance as per bank statement, the balance according to the bank statement. How do we do that? As a ledger account, you look for the side with the highest amount again. Is it the debit? Is it the credit? In this case, I think we can all see that it is the credit. What do we do? On the credit side, we will now say, okay, I'm just going to clear off everything. I'm going to say my 23,400. You see the first one. Then I'm going to add plus 46,310 plus 46,310. Okay, the total then is 69,710. So I'm going to come here and then I'm going to have 69,710. That means here I'm going to have 69,710. Can I go? I now need the balance as per bank statement, which is this one. Okay, so I'm going to add, I have already added, rather I'm going to subtract all these amounts that are on the debit side. So I'm going to say that 69,710 minus, then I'm going to say minus the 8,000. Please punch the calculator together with me. Then I say again minus 4,720. Then again I say minus 9,220. Then it gives me the balance, which is 47,770. So I'm going to come here. Then I'm going to get my 47,770. That is how we then do the bank reconciliation statement. Okay, this is one of the ways in which the examiner can bring it. Okay, this is more or less the simplest way that the examiner can bring. Okay, I have another activity that I would want to do with you. It's an exciting one. Okay, so if you've understood this one, let's take it a notch high. Are you ready for that? Okay, so we're going to take it slightly a notch high. And before we do that, we're going to take a quick 5-minute break. And then I'm going to see you as we begin with our next activity. Our next activity is from the NSC November 2023 paper 2. Okay, so if you have not yet received this particular question paper, I'm going to give you a minute to download it, whether it's on your phone, so that you can have it. And when I do it with you, then it becomes clear. I'm going to see you after 5 minutes.
I want you to ask yourself these 3 questions. Number 1, what do I want? Do I want to become an A student, or do I want to become an average student? Number 2, I want you to ask yourself, how do you plan on getting there? Are you going to put more extra hours, or are you going to just sleep? Number 3, who will be with you in this journey? Because it is important that we associate ourselves with students who have the same vision as us, who want to become a student, who want to put in the extra work, who want to become better at what they do. Unsuccessful people do not plan. They just let life happen to them. But successful people are planning on how they want their lives to be. And right now, you plan on how you want your results at the end of the year to be like.
Excellence is a habit. Excellence is a quality you have, a quality I have. It's a quality we have when we honor what is true to us. Yes, we are gifted differently. uNkulunkulu akasinganga ngokufana. Excellence is striving for your best. Whenever you have a particular project, test, homework, uzibuze, ask yourself, is this my best? Can I put in more effort? Excellence is striving to be in the top 1% of the area in which you are gifted. And so I challenge you, in every single thing that you do, in every single area that you're gifted in, whether it's sports, it's academic, ucula, whatever that gift is, strive for excellence.
Welcome back, dear learners. Before the ad break, I promised you that I was going to do the NSC November 2023 Paper 2 with you, and I have it here with me. And I hope that you guys are also ready. And I asked if it's possible for you to download the paper if you don't have it with you as printed. But if you have it, let's begin. Okay, so we are also required here to calculate the correct totals, that is the updating of the journals, that is the CRJ and CPJ, and there is an answer book that has been provided. And we are also asked to calculate the correct bank account balance in the general ledger of the business. And then we are to prepare the bank reconciliation statement. And I like this one because now we also have a theory question where they want us to explain two strategies that a business can use to address the problem of missing cash. Okay, let's see more information. So this is the previous month's bank reconciliation statement. Okay, so we are given the previous month, that is the BRS for May 2023. It is very important that you understand why are these transactions in the BRS. It is because they were in the journals but could not reflect on the bank statement. Hence, we entered them in the BRS. Did you get that one? I'm going to repeat it again. The amounts that you see in the bank reconciliation statement is because we had recorded them in our journals. But when we compared our journals with the bank statement, we could not see some of these transactions. Therefore, we recorded them in the BRS so that we can keep track of these transactions to see when they will appear or if there is a problem. And then we have now been told that, note, the cashier reported that the cash to be deposited on the 18th of May, all right, this is the 18th of May, was stolen while she was on her way to the bank. So money was stolen on her way to the bank. This must be written off. So this must be written off, okay? So let's quickly go and do that. Here's more information, okay? And this is the extract of the June bank statement, more information as well. And then we end up with information F. Does this look familiar? Yes, it looks more or less the same as what we've just done. So remember, this is the NSC November for the year 2023. Are you guys ready? Because I am ready. Can we do this? Okay, let's go. Now, it begins first with the previous month's bank reconciliation statement. That is where you have to begin because we have items that were in our journals, but these items never reflected on the bank statement. Hence, we had put them in the BRs. Now we want to know, are there any developments? Is there anything that has happened since we have recorded those transactions? Let's see if there's anything that has happened so far. We are told, the first one, that the cashier has reported that the cash to be deposited on the 18th of May was stolen. What do we do when the cash that was intended to be deposited is stolen? Okay, how much is that? We would know by looking in the previous bank reconciliation statement. And that was how much? 30,000. You see that? Okay, so that means that amount was in one of our journals because it was supposed to be in the journals, not on the bank statement, hence it is in the BRs. Which journal had we recorded this particular amount? We'd recorded it in the CRJ because it is a deposit. Okay. Now, the moment we are told that the money was stolen, there is only one thing to do. That is to write off the amount, as we are told. We write off the amount. In which journal now? Keep in mind, when we received the deposit, the money, we record it in the CRJ. So if we're to write it off, where do we go? Do we go to the same CRJ? Certainly not. We now go to the CPJ. So we come to the CPJ and we record the 30,000. We record the 30,000 over here. Can I go on? Okay, let's go on. The next one then reads, EFT 816 to Ace Stationers is correct on the bank statement. Okay, so we have an amount that is in the BRS. Why is it in the BRS? I'll keep saying this. It is in the BRS because we had recorded in the journals, but did not appear on the bank statement. Hence, we recorded in the what? BRS. We get that trick. Now we are told it has now appeared on the bank statement. Okay. On the bank statement, it is appearing now as how much? As 4,700. And we are told that is the correct amount. Where had we recorded the incorrect amount? In the journals. Which journal, to be specific? This is an EFT. Which journal? CPJ. So we had recorded in the CPJ, we had recorded 7,400. That's what it means. In the CPJ, we had 7,400. Are you still following me? Now we are told that on the bank statement, it now appears as 4.7, and this is the correct amount. That certainly means we have recorded more on the CPJ. We had recorded more, overstated the amount in the CPJ. By how much? I need calculators now. 7.4 minus 4.7. How much do you get, guys? How much? 2,000. Say it again. 2,700. 2,700. So it means our CPJ is overstated by 2,700. If the CPJ is overstated, where do you record the difference? In the CRJ. Thank you. So I'll come to my CRJ and then I'm going to record my 2,700. Can I go on? Thank you. Thank you. Let's go on to the next one. It says, there's information on the bank reconciliation statement, but now on information C, I have a transaction on the June bank statement. Spark Wholesalers, 19.3. 19. Okay. Now, let's see. I have an amount that is on the BRS. And then that amount now appears on the bank statement. What do I do? The question is, why was it in the BRS in the first place? It was in the BRS because it was in the journals, but not on the bank statement. Hence, we had put it in the BRS. We were waiting for it to reflect on the bank statement. The moment it reflects on the bank statement, what do? Not a thing. We simply come, we tick it off, and we tick it off to show that I have dealt with this transaction. Some will say, this is simple, let's cancel it. Write a line. That's another option to indicate I've dealt with this one. Can I move on to the next one? Let's go. Here's the next one. Okay, so do I record in the CIJ or CPJ? Certainly not. I don't record it in either of them. The next one reads, EFT 792 to BK Builders was incorrectly recorded in the June cash receipts journal. I want you to read this again. Read this again. EFT, okay, EFT was incorrectly recorded in the CRJ. But it's an EFT. Is an EFT supposed to go to the CRJ? No. An EFT is supposed to go to the CPJ. Okay. So you now know if an amount is recorded in the opposite journal, incorrectly, in the wrong journal, what do? You go and you put it where? In the right journal. How many times? Twice. The first is to cancel the error, and then the next one is to record the proper entry. So what it means is, I'm going to come here now. It's an EFT. EFTs must come to the CPJ. So we're going to bring it to the CPJ. And we're now going to say, how much was that? 6,200. So someone would come and say 6.2 plus 6.2. Someone would have just come and recorded the 12,400. You would still be correct. Okay. The first 6.2 is to cancel the error that we had made when we recorded in the CRJ. And the second 6.2 is for the EFT that must be rightfully recorded in the CPJ. Guys, can I move on? Okay. Thank you for the thumbs up. Let's go. we're now told, okay, it's another one again, where we see that on the 30th of May, with an outstanding deposit of 18,200, but that deposit is now reflected on the May bank statement, on the June bank statement rather. Someone tell me, what do we do? Someone is already screaming, we do nothing. We simply come, we take it. Someone say, let's cancel it. We cancel it to say we were looking for it because we had recorded it in the journals and it was not on the bank statement. Hence, we had put it in the BRS in the month of May. When we come to the month of June, we can see now it is on the bank statement. Eventually, we do not a thing with it. We simply acknowledge that it has appeared. Do we record it in the journals? No. Okay? So not in the CIJ, not in the CPJ. Does he go to the BRS? Certainly not. Can I move on? Let's go. Here's the next one. It reads, the direct deposit by G. Glenn was for monthly rent. Okay? Here's the keywords. It's a what? We're told it's a direct deposit. And you can see it's on the credit side of the bank statement. That means it's on the plus side, on the CIJ side. Okay? So when I come here, this is easy now. I'm simply going to come and going to say 14,600. Can I go on? Okay. Let's move on to the next one. EFT 818 to Vox Garage was for repairs to the company vehicle. The owner neglected to submit the transaction record slip to the bookkeeper. No entry was made in the books. Okay, let's read this one again. We made an EFT to VX Garage for the repairs to the company vehicle. The owner neglected to submit the transaction record, okay, to the bookkeeper. No entry was made in the books. Where do we see the amount for this transaction? It's on the June bank statement. That means the bank has a record of this. Who does not have a record of this? Us. So now we come. Where do we record this? It is an EFT. It is a payment. It's on the debit side of the bank statement. That means we're talking CPJ. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to say, how much is that going to be? That's going to be your 3,780. Can I move on? Okay, let's go on. Here we are. It reads, the monthly transaction fees were duplicated on the bank statement. The monthly transaction fees were duplicated. So the bank debited us twice. You can see this one here. Okay, let's see what we can do about that one. When we come here, we know that we have bank charges that we must record. Bank charges that we must record. The first one is cash deposit fees and transaction fees. Those are bank charges. So I'm going to take these two. Those are my bank charges. They must appear in the CPJ. So I'm going to come here and say 860. Then someone is saying, but Mr. Simbi, it's appearing twice here. Is that correct? No, we are told here the bank has made an error. They duplicated. They charged us twice instead of once. So who made the error in this case? Them. Who? The bank. So if we're to correct the error of the bank, do we correct it in our journals? Certainly not. Where do we go? Into the bank reconciliation statement. Already now you will know the format of the bank reconciliation statement. So I'm just going to come here. Then I'm just going to correct the error. What do I say? I then say, what happened here? They debited us incorrectly. So if they debited us incorrectly, what do? Credit amount, incorrectly debited. So we credit, how much is that? 540. Like that. Okay? Because they debited us incorrectly. So in the BRS, we credit that amount that was incorrectly debited. Can I move on? Okay. Let's go. And then we are now told that we have entries in the cash journals, that do not agree with the transactions that are on the bank statement. Where do we go? BRS. Let's see. The first one, we have deposit on the 27th of June, 31.5. So already we have our balance as per bank statement. And then we're going to come and we credit. What do we credit? Outstanding. We credit our outstanding deposits. We credit our outstanding deposits. And then we have 31,500. There it is. 31.5. Can I go on? Then we have an EFT here. What do we then say? We say debit. Debit. Outstanding EFTs. Debit, outstanding EFTs. And they have numbers. And the number is 944 for the first EFT. That is for how much? 9,700. Are you following me? Am I too fast for you? Okay, thank you. So I can continue. Let's do that. So I come to the next one. That is EFT number 945. 945. How much is that for? 13.3. So I'll come here. That's 13,300. Okay. Can I go to E? Let's do E together. It reads, the owner withdrew 11,000 from an ATM to pay wages on 29 June. Okay? But did not inform the bookkeeper. All right. So we know that these are amounts that do not appear. The moment the owner withdrew 11,000 at the ATM to pay wages on the 29th of June, all right, and the bank statement is as of the 30th of June, that simply means this transaction here of the 11,000 will not appear on the bank statement. That means the bank has no record of this as yet because this is happening on the 29th of June. That means we need to bring it now to the BRS. Then what do we call this now? It is an ATM withdrawal to pay wages. It is an ATM withdrawal, to pay wages. Okay, an ATM withdrawal to pay wages. Where is it going to go? Is it going to increase our balance or decrease? It's going to decrease because it's a withdrawal. So I'm going to bring it to the debit side. Then I'm going to have my 11,000. Okay. The second part is he did not inform the bookkeeper. That means we have no record of this in our journals. Therefore, we bring it also to the CPJ. So I'm going to have my 11,000 here because he did not inform the bookkeeper. So the record of this is not in our journals. Let me come now to the last part. The bank statement balance. That means we can close off our journals. Let's close off our journals. So I'd already done that for you. There are the totals. Okay. And then we have A. The bank reconciliation for May. We have the balance as per bank account in the ledger, that is 49.1. And that is a favorable balance. It means I'm going to come here to my bank account. Remember, the debit side is a plus and the credit side is a minus. So once I have a favorable balance, I'm going to bring it here now. I'm going to say balance brought down 49,100. A favorable balance. Can I go on? Okay. Favorable balance. Then I'm going to bring my total receipts. Here's my total receipts from the CRJ. 98,840. What is the next one? My total payments. My total payments, CPJ. This one here. 138,660. Are we still okay? Now we look for the side with the highest amount. The side with the highest amount. Which one is it? Is it the debit or the credit? Thank you. Someone is saying the debit. How much is your debit? 147,000. Repeat it again. 147,940. So here I'm going to have 147,940. Okay. So I'm closing off my ledger account. Now I need a balance here now. Here I'm going to get a balance. Carry down. I'm now saying 147,940 minus 138,660. How much do you get? 9,280. That means I'm going to come this side now. I have my balance brought down. 9,280. Favorable or unfavorable? It's a question. Thank you. Someone is saying, Mr. Simbi, this is a favorable balance. That is a favorable bank balance. Okay. After we're done here now, it means I can come here with a 9,280. We can complete our bank reconciliation statement. The balance on the bank account is a debit balance. So I'm going to come to the debit side and I'm going to say balance SB bank account on the debit side, 9280. My balance is on the debit side. 9280 is on the debit side. When I come to the BRS, my balance SB bank account must be on the debit side, 9280. Calculators, can we go? So I look for the side with the highest amount again. All right. So is it the debit or the credit? Is it the debit or the credit? It is definitely the debit. How much is that going to be? 43,280. So here I come, 43,280. Then I say 43 to 80 minus 540 minus 31.5. Then I get my balance as per bank statement, which is 11,240. That's how you complete the bank reconciliation statement. What is this balance? Favorable or unfavorable? This is a favorable balance as per bank statement. A favorable balance as per bank statement. Remember, credit side is good for us. Okay, now I'm going to go to the last part of the question because there it is. When it is completed, we were then asked to explain two strategies that the business can use to address the problem of missing cash. Okay, let's go. Number one, receiving and banking of cash should be done by different people. I know some of you want to jump and say division of duties. That is not a safe answer to say. Rather, develop yourself. Move away from this division of duties. Begin to explain yourself further. And you can put that idea across by saying, receiving and banking of cash should be done by different people. Okay? The next one. Divide or delegate or rotate duties to prevent mismanagement of cash. That can lead to missing money or theft. So you are also bringing here the idea of dividing or delegating or rotating the duties. Let's go to the second point. Request SMS notification from the bank. So that means whenever there's a transaction that happens, a deposit or a withdrawal, request SMS notifications from your bank. The next one is that you can check your bank statements, that is the mini statements, and you can do that on the app. You can do that on the app regularly to ensure correct amounts are deposited. Outsource the transportation of cash to security companies, especially when we're dealing with large sums of money. So you can have your cash transportation companies to come and collect the cash. Accompany the person in charge of depositing cash, escort by a security guard, especially considering that the money was stolen on the way to deposit to the bank. Encourage customers to pay online, that is via EFT, and also strive towards cashless or minimal cash handling. Okay, so that is another point that you can give. And then the next one is do deposits regularly. Very important. Cash must be deposited regularly, but at different times and using different routes for security purposes. So you must not develop a pattern that the robbers can easily identify. At 10 o'clock you're going to bank, then they will definitely pounce on you. But you use different times and different routes, okay, for security purposes. And also train employees on security or emergency responses. Alarm system or GPS tracking on vehicles used to transport cash. That is another response that you can also give. And then lastly, do background checks on stuff involved with cash to check if they're reliable or trustworthy. I have more internal controls here that also have to do with the bank reconciliation. You can also talk about ensure deposits are done on a regular basis. We spoke about that one. Rotation of duties, times in banking to avoid creating a pattern. We spoke about that. Provide security. We spoke about that one. Divide duties. We spoke about that one. Use collection companies. We spoke about that one. And we also spoke about all these ones. Okay, then we've come to the end of today's class. We've done bank reconciliation. I hope you guys are happy. I'm happy that you were in my class. Now, let's make an appointment for next week, Friday, exactly at 2. I'm here. I'm going to be doing creditors reconciliation. I know you're saying that's a challenge for you. Guess what? We're going to answer that one in next week's class. So I have to see you next week. Until then, continue practicing. It is goodbye for me.